Great to have you, folks. 800-282-2882. When and if we get to the phones. Before getting to the what I think is the bombshell news of the day, I want to continue. I just saw a story here that they're going crazy out there, that they're finally reaching 1 million copies sold of the Wolf Book. And I'm thinking, it's amazing how publishing has changed. I've written 2 books. 1992 and 1993/4. Both of those books sold 2.5 million. The second one sold 2.5 million in 5 weeks. The first book was number 1 on the New York Times list for 54 weeks because the publisher had no idea how it was going to sell, so they kept publishing to meet demand. Well, when the second one came out, the demand had been established, and the demand was for 2 million to flow off the shelves, and they did. In the first 4 weeks. So my 2 books, grand total 8.5, almost 9 million hardcover. That doesn't count paperback. And, of course, there were no e-books back then. But now they're doing handstands here because the Wolf Book has just now, they've had to go back and order a bunch of reprints. The hard copy is now 1 million. I think the e-book, tens of thousands of copies and so forth. I frankly would have thought, the way they've been hyping this thing, that it was way more than 1 million already. Now, I know it's not been out there but a week. And you know what the original print was 150,000. Well, what does that tell you? The original print, that means they had no idea what kind of demand there was going to be for this book, which astounds me. I would have thought they would have known they were sitting on a gold mine from the get-go. But that's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. My thinking on this is, what number of attempts in total is this to take out Donald Trump? And how many of them prior to this one have worked? I mean, they've thrown everything they've got at Donald Trump, including the perhaps unconstitutional use of deep state administrative people in the intelligence community, such as Peter Strzok and these FBI people, now, as we know, leaking damaging data that was not even true to the media. For a year, every day, the Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN had some bombshell proving collusion between Trump and Russia, except every story mentioned in a little tiny sentence near the end, no evidence has yet been found for the claims. And there isn't any evidence today that there was any collusion, because there wasn't any collusion. Now the Wolf Book is out, and it says that Trump didn't even want to win. Big theme. Trump, he didn't want to win. And Melania was crying on election night. She was so upset that they had won. Well, if Trump didn't want to win, then why the hell collude with Russia to steal the election? Number one. Number two, the book is now being demonstrated to be vastly devoid of facts. And all it is doing is recycling some of the earlier stuff that's been printed in the New York Times and the Washington Post. And its primary value is the media can now use it as a source authority rather than themselves. So the Wolf Book gives them the opportunity to expand the entire hit on Trump that this book represents and all the previous efforts that have come before it. Now, you remember the Access Hollywood video. The Washington Post had that video. It was an NBC show. NBC didn't release that video. The Washington Post did. And everybody thought that's it. Trump had survived his insults of Mexicans. He had survived his insults of McCain. He had survived all of the politically incorrect things he had said. But everybody just knew it. That was going to end it. That was going to be the end of the Trump presidency, except it wasn't. Everything they've launched at Trump, it in truth has not made a dent. Trump's agenda is in full speed now, and what has made that possible, again, is the Republicans in Congress spent the first 10 months, hesitant, wavering, unsupportive. And we all chalked it up to the fact that they were like the Democrats and didn't even want Trump there. Trump's an outsider, their establishment. We can't have Trump here. It turns out that's not what it was. I mean, there was some of that. What it was the Republicans believed that Trump was going to leave office. They believed the Russia collusion bit. They believed the media. They believed Trump had stolen the election. They believed it. They could not get close to Trump because they feared he was going to be sent packing. They believed that phony allegation. Now, as time went on during the year, it became more and more obvious there was nothing there. There wasn't any collusion. In fact, the only collusion is between Hillary Clinton and the Russians and Christopher Steele for the Trump dossier, which is opposition research. There is no evidence. So the Republicans are warming up now. The Republicans are feeling much more confident about Trump because they now are not worried that there's anything to the collusion story. Now, the point of all this is that I believe that Trump is on a roll, and I think Trump's going to continue to succeed, and I think he's going to roll these guys on this immigration business that's being discussed right now, like he has been rolling them the entire year. He's going to continue to succeed, and he really will if the Republicans stick with him, and they will as more and more is being learned about where the real scandal is involving this entire collusion story with Russia. And we find out it's not with Trump at all. And I think what we're seeing is the Democrats in full panic mode. But you're never going to see it reported that way because the drive-by media is a protectorate. The drive-by media, I believe, actually is the force of power moving the Democrat Party agenda. I think the Democrats, elected Democrats, take their, if not marching orders, their inspiration and their guide from the media. The media runs all the interference. The media does everything it can to destroy Trump under the guise of doing journalism, which they're not. There is no journalism in the drive-by media today. There is no news. What we're getting is simply the advancement of the Democrat Party agenda disguised as news each and every day. And they simply aren't able to take Trump out with it. Now the economy is booming. We have the tax cut bill. Unemployment, African-American unemployment, is at an all-time record low. We are nearing statistical full employment, which is 3.5%. It has just been agreed to. For the longest time, government economists and others, 3.5% unemployment is considered to be full employment. And we're nearing that. And we have incomes rising, and we have jobs being created, and we have companies bonusing because of the tax cut bill. We have companies operating overseas, repatriating. In Apple's case, they're going to bring back $200 billion, I think. And that's going to be infused into the U.S. economy. And it's not the government taking money from the private sector and redistributing it. This is money that's not here. And it's going to be added, and it's going to have an infusion effect, and it's going to create growth. And so this is going to continue. And I think the Democrats, look at what they're focusing on. They're focusing on a fake book. They're all in on a fake book. They're all in on stories in a fake book that are fake. I think the fact that this book is selling so well may not be the great sign the Democrats think it is. Some of it certainly is going to be helpful. I mean, there's a contingent of Americans that hate Trump. I'm not denying that. But what it shows is the consuming interest in Trump people have. No matter what, he dominates the news day. He dominates the 24-hour news cycle each and every day. With whatever he does, he dominates it. They can't not cover him. They can't leave it alone. And as such, Trump benefits from a never-ending focus of attention, which he happens to like. A lot of other people in public life don't like this kind of attention, but he does. And he uses it. And he turns it around on him. Now he's got his fake news awards tomorrow night, where he's going to name names. He's going to give awards to the reporters that have been telling the biggest lies. This kind of thing has never been done, and people are eating it up. So they're focusing on a fake book, and now they're focusing on the Oprah running for president. The Oprah hasn't even said she's going to, which we need to discuss in detail because a lot of people, it's so predictable. The Oprah, very famous African-American liberal celebrity, delivers a firebrand social justice speech. And people on our side feel compelled to cite it as great and wonderful and barn burner, and so because it's just not politically correct to be critical of the Oprah. It's not even politically correct to honestly analyze the Oprah and this idea that she could be automatically elected president if she just decided to run. We need to dig deep into this, which we will do here. From a perspective only I apparently am capable of occupying and offering. But when you see the Democrats glom on to all of these things for one purpose, their purpose, get rid of Trump. You've heard the old adage, at this level you have to give people reasons to vote for you. And the Democrats don't have any right now. Their sole reason for existing is resisting Trump. Their sole reason for having people vote for them is they are going to be the way we get rid of Trump. And they're making a major miscalculation, assuming that's what a majority of Americans want. If Trump has another successful month or two, the Democrats are going to be in more trouble than they will probably be able to figure out. I think some of them know way deep down in the deep, dark crevices of their tiny little souls that they cannot politically survive a successful Trump presidency. At one time, I think they thought they could. No matter what Trump did, good or bad, I think they thought they'd be able to get rid of him because people hate Trump because he's a barbarian, because he's a pig, because he's smart, not smart, he's stupid, he can't put two sentences together. That's the latest from Wolf. Yeah, Trump can't fit two sentences. Here's a guy that did 4 rallies a day, hour and a half each, with no notes. And he can't put 2 sentences together. Meanwhile, over here, the smartest woman in the world, Hillary Clinton, could barely stand up for an hour and a half, much less speak without a teleprompter. And yet Hillary is the smartest woman in the world, and Obama is the smartest guy in the world, and Trump is this idiot who is outperforming them all, any measure you care to make. And I think there's some Democrats deep down very aware of this. And they know that it's going to be really tough for them if Trump has another month or two of success. Because at some point, this stupid book is going to be forgotten. Everything has a lifespan except Trump. Trump's always going to be there. And these people are going to, the Wolf book's going to die down. It's going to fade away, and they're going to have to come up with some replacement for it. The Russia investigation, toodaloo, fading away, not much there. And now Wolf is saying, well, maybe. Everybody in the White House says there wasn't any collusion. Wolf is saying this, but everybody in the White House he spoke, there's no collusion. But then Wolf says, if they ever start looking at Trump's finances, it's over. Well, okay, add that to the list. For the last 3 years, they've been telling us if we ever get deep down and discover what Trump's been doing here and there, he's gone. And yet, it's like spitballs at a battleship. It just isn't having much effect. Quick time out. Much more straight ahead when we get back.